Hi, this is Bill Bronchick, and I'd like to teach you in this short video lesson how to deal with seller objections. One of the biggest problems that people have is getting a seller to sign the contract. And what I'm talking about is face-to-face, belly-to-belly, across the kitchen table from a motivated seller. And what a lot of people do is they talk with the seller, they try to sell the seller. And they talk too much, and they're not listening, and they're not watching for the signs of, I'm uncomfortable, that message from the seller. Now the seller will tell you things like, I need to think about it, or I'm not sure, or let me get back to you. And most people say, oh sure, fine. They close their briefcase or their folder and they walk away. Wrong move. If the seller's saying those things, he's not saying he's uncomfortable or needs to think about it. What he's saying is, I don't trust you. I don't believe you. I am not comfortable with this. So you have to deal with whatever is bugging that seller, and that is their objections. So don't be shy if a seller says, I need to think about, say, gee, Bob, what do you need to think about? Is there something that's bothering you? Or there's something that you need answered, or a question that you want to ask me? Or if they just raise an objection, they say, what if X or what if Y? You got to learn to deal with those objections. And here's the best way to do it. Number one, validate the objection. Never say, yeah, but, and then try to justify what you're saying. That's the biggest way you're going to turn off the seller. What you do is say, that's an excellent question, Bob. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people have that same objection. Let me see if I understand what you're saying, and then repeat it. And then they'll probably say, yeah, that's my objection. And then you roll on to an answer. Now, if you keep doing this and get everything on the table, and ask them, by the way, after you've answered that and they seem happy with that answer, ask them, is there anything else that's bothering you? Is there any other objections that you have? Let's get them all out on the table. If they seem a little, and they look like they're not really buying what you're saying, say, gee, Bob, it looks like you may not be satisfied with what I just said. What about what I just said is still unresolved for you? So, push them a little, cajole them a little, get them to open up and tell you what's really bothering you. Now, when it comes to the difficult questions, this is where people blow it. If a difficult question is asked that doesn't have a good answer, don't try to justify, don't try to say stupid things that, you can trust me, or I'm reliable, or that'll never happen. That's just going to tick off the seller, and it's not going to gain trust that you need. So let's say, for example, you're going to do an owner financing deal. And the seller says something like, well, if you don't pay, then I have to go to court, pay a lawyer, and foreclose you. Now, the dumb person would say, oh, but you can trust me, I'll make the payments, or that'll never happen. Oh, I've never done that before. That's not going to make the seller feel better. What you do is you simply look them straight in the eye, very seriously, and say, yep, that's right. And stare them right in the eyes. Don't blink. Don't look away. And eventually, they will say either, or okay, or I need to think about it, which in case you're going to push them a little more. But the best thing you can do when they ask a difficult question is to say, yes, that's true, and look them right in the eyes. The first one who blinks loses in that argument. Okay? So again, validate the objection, try to answer it the best you can. Ask them when you're done, does that satisfy your objection, or does that satisfy the issue? Ask them if there's anything else that's bothering them, get it out on the table, and when they ask a tough question, look them straight in the eyes and say, yes, that's the truth. And see who blinks first. I hope you've enjoyed this short video on how to deal with seller objections, and that you put these into practice right away.